Roses are red, violets are blue. When you're not around, all I think of is you. Except when Daniela's there. Love Island USA Season 6, and I'm watching this on itvx in the UK, and this is the 6th of September. Sierra is loving her new man. When they were talking about Kane going, she was like, oh, it's really sad to see him going. Is it fuck? He was a total walking red flag, a complete Ned. Glad to see him go. Harrison and Sierra were getting to know each other, and even though I do not fancy him whatsoever, he does come across as a really nice, genuine guy, but I really wish that they would stop calling him Thor. Like, he doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth, and he certainly, in my opinion, doesn't look like Jesus. It was time for the Love Island Olympics, and watching Cordell and Serena jump over those hurdles with their horses was actually a pure laugh. Now, they're all like, oh, we're the most competitive people ever. I am so not competitive, but that's probably because I've never been good at any sport in my entire life. They were split into two teams, gold and pink, and they had to play a game where they put their heads through a hole and then the other team had to throw water balloons, and Serena was the top scoring points, and when Harrison kept throwing the water balloons, like, you could see that she was actually raging. I mean, obviously I wouldn't like to be pelted in the face with a water balloon, but anybody's going to go for the highest points. It makes sense, it wasn't anything personal, but I'm absolutely shit at throwing, so I would be trying to hit him right in the face and I'd just miss. It would be pathetic. It was time for the boat race, and the gold team were in the lead, so they got a 5-second head start, and it was Leah and Miguel against Kendall and Nicole. And even though Miguel and Leah didn't have 1 ounce rhythm between the two of them, I was actually still impressed that they managed to do so much more extra paddling. They were all over the place. They were going in every direction apart from where they were meant to go. And they still managed to get there, not that far behind Nicole and Kendall. Not only that, but they weren't out of breath. They seemed to be totally fine. I can just imagine me trying to paddle. Honestly, I'd be like having an asthma attack halfway across. Aaron and Rob were planning a date for Aaron and Kayla, and they were cooking for her and everything, and he was really excited, and he says he was going to write a poem. And then when they went up, right, and Kayla's like, oh, nobody's ever done anything like this for me before. To be fair, she did say she's only ever had one boyfriend, so it's not as if she's got lots of experience with men and lots of experience with all dates and stuff. And as I always say, like, when somebody does something for them, like, makes them a basic breakfast, they always go, oh, nobody's ever done anything like this for me before. And I think, who the fuck are you dating? Who's never even made you breakfast? But in this case, she has only ever had one boyfriend, and he could have been a complete dick for all we know. So he made her dinner and he took her upstairs, and Rob came up with the food. I totally forgot his name there. And then Aaron was like, oh, I wrote you a poem. Now, the poem was completely shit, right? But I mean, it's the thought that counts. But then see when he said, roses are red, violets are blue, when you're not around, all I think of is you. I am that petty bitch. I am that bitch. I'd have been like that, oh, unless Daniela was there, or unless you were alone with Daniela, or unless you're alone with any other attractive female. Oh my god, like, that actually riled me up. And I don't know if it's just me, but when he said that, I felt as if her face was like, I don't know, maybe she's just got like a kind of resting bitch face. Or maybe she was trying to like hold back tears. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think she was like happy at that moment, or do you think she was like, I know your game? So he asked her to be his girlfriend. Of course, it's coming up for the end of the show, and he's wanting the money. Kenny was speaking to Janae on the dock, and he says that he wanted to be closed off. And I felt like doing that on the same day that Aaron just asked Kayla out was a bit shit, to be honest. But Janae was obviously really happy about it. But then when she came over and she's like, oh, it's the dock of dreams now, because I've been dreaming and wishing that he tells me he's closed off, and now we are. And this absolutely fucking riles me up, because it's like, if you wanted to be closed off, why didn't you bring it up to him? Or why didn't you ask him? Or like any year in any other Love Island, the girls would be like, oh, I've wanted to be exclusive for weeks or whatever. And it's like, okay, why didn't you ask him then? You've got a mouth the same as him. Why do women always wait about on men to do the work? So they got a text saying that because the pink team won, they got to choose somebody from their group to go into the hideaway. So Janae and Kenny went into the hideaway. And I did actually feel a wee bit bad for Aaron and Kayla because they've been together longer and they probably would have really loved it. But I mean, Janae, she deserves to have a good night as well. But she's still doing that thing where when she's talking to a guy or when she's talking about a guy, she does a really fake voice and she's like, ah, I'm so happy. But she doesn't speak like that all the time. It's like when people have got a fake customer service voice, it's like, why don't you just speak with your normal speaking voice? What's going on? After Kenny told Janae that he wanted to be closed off, Miguel was in the beach hut and he was like, he's making decisions that he shouldn't be making, it's too soon to be making them. And even though I actually can't stand Miguel, I just think he's a bit of a Ned, to be honest. But I do respect the fact that he does seem to be one of the realest people in there because he's honest about how he feels. He's telling people that he's open, he's telling them if he wants to go and chat with other people. And I think he's like a really honest person. And I actually really like that about him. So it shows you what's happening next time, and there's a familiar face coming in. For the life of me, I can't remember her name, but she was in one of the past seasons. And I believe it's the girl who was seeing the guy and she thought that they were like closed off. And then he went away into the casa and had sex with somebody else, and it was so dramatic. I actually quite liked it, to be honest. But this episode wasn't the best. I felt like Aaron's poem was completely piss. Especially when they had the cheek to say that when she's not there, all he thinks about is her. Which we all know is a complete lie. Let me know what you thought of it. Do you think he could have done a better job and maybe like told the truth and not been a wee fucking skis bag? Anyway, I'll see you again on Monday.